we're back to more Thronebreaker The Witcher Tales. So maybe the last video of the dwarf variant, or Hackanen, whatever. But then again, it looks like there's quite a bit of stuff to do while these collect. Honestly, collecting is the easiest thing. It's a puzzle battle. We're doomed. We're doomed. There's no hope. It's all gone south from hell. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Uninstall. Flee. Mindful of the intensifying snowstorm. Me found to the march over by the name of Stone Earth. Waiting for a turn the weather me kill time by playing around of Gwent with Vicky. Pair the residents or how can play by several is different from what humans were accustomed to in the bones. I'm going to take a second to bitch about this. The residents of Mohawk and played by several is different from what humans were accustomed to the lowlands. Yeah. Well, the thing is, we're already playing by technically a different set of rules than what the dwarves play by anyway. 'Cause remember Witcher 3? We had this whole fun debate in, what was it, Blood and Wine? Well, one guy wanted to make the Scalga deck an actual thing. But then some dwarves and people who basically were loyalists to the way the card should play and didn't like, you know, fan-made stuff, came and complained that, oh, you're changing the way Gwent is supposed to be played. There was only supposed to be 4 sets of cards. Which would be, you know, Temeria, Nilfgaard, Scoia'tael, and monster decks. So there's supposed to be 4 decks of cards. But yet then here we are in Thronebreaker playing with our own set of cards, which, you know, is completely different than Witcher 3 set. And here we end up in Mohawk, and we're basically playing Gwent inside of Gwent, except for we're playing Hearthstone inside of Gwent. I've never really played Hearthstone, so this is gonna be a thing. Destroy the stone Hearth resident. Yes, you don't want to do. Zero destroyed. Anyone man to himself. So passing doesn't work. You mean I seriously have to do? But you mean I seriously? It means I literally have to play it.
Scurvy sketches!
Oh, got a bad case of rower's back.
So we approaches the pirate. Great. Approaches the pirate's power. Sorry, good damage. Just go straight. Which wasn't really that. Yeah, that was not that great. Taking too much damage. Glad that's good. So actually damage. Damn well. Holy crap. Darker than hours. Well, I've wiped him out. I'm not sure what to play now. Like, I guess the first blast wave.
Yes? Attack a random enemy by 8. Of course it had to be me. Give me that, my friend. Of course it ain't. Yeah. Yeah, it's not like we can really damage them by it. Probably gonna die, because the guy will probably get random strikes off or not. Yep, and we lost. Because this is all. I've never really played her spell. Hard stuff. And they were like, oh yeah, this will be totally great. Totally.
Frickin' right!
Yeah, I don't get any great cards. Especially, he's either gonna wipe out that or hurt me. Shit. When Mike and I draw a power card that only does one. Now take out that. Give damage to the enemy healed by a very large spell. I could probably get away with that. Okay, so 2, which means we should play probably one of those. Or surely Patron. Okay, cube, give it that.
not paying me. Okay, oh no, that's a repo my cheese for what do I want to play? I'll save my focus. Play Notes Early Patron. And you, I don't know, give her the... Why not? Of course, now we're going to need to start after curing his door. Oh, there's no dragon, which sucks. Okay, I don't like that. I think he cheated, though. Somehow he did 4 damage. So that you would only have done 2. And this one can only damage after it's at the end of the turn. So yeah, I think the enemy cheated.
I am here to lend a helping hand.
Okay, so of course the random ability attacks me. I should have had him attack him. Oh well. So what do I want to play? I think next time we play a Frozen Giant. So it gets boosted by hard damage, right? So let's watch him damage. Yep. Every turn on turn in damage or random enemy by it. It says that, but then damages green leaf. That's stupid. Anyway, die. I'll get back to Gwent. To uninstall you game. Tempted to. This card has been added to your army. It can be found in the clan tent. You unlocked the wizard. I hope you
Welcome
found-
to me inn.
I hope you...
We've many folk today, but there's always room enough for more. Good to see you. Good to see you.
I hope you die in fire. Oh yeah. Freaking door making like freaking cursed stone. So what's Blizzard do? Spawn and play 2 random trinkets. So that's not terrible. Problem though is spawn and play 2 random trinkets. It's 2 random trinkets. That's the problem with it. Cause I mean we could end up where if we have way too many trinkets and most of them suck. So it's probably a stupid idea to use that.
Mantle of fresh snow today. Got a blow before too long. Bring a rush down. Oh, cold as up a Shilemar's ass.
I see.
Braving the snow in those meagre courts, are ye? Truly. Throw yourselves here for a spell afore moving on. Snowfall's down, snowfall's down, geese are chattering. Oh.
You just give me random around when I didn't need around. Dick. Oh, I know you need around. No. Oh yeah, totally. Don't need around. I'm so hey, look. It's a puzzle battle. You know how much I love puzzle battles. I'm going to lose my mind. The fact that Rover who can finish sprinkling had not met that passage was safe off the beaten track. Gwent's icy winds were proved to be still scalded. Rage outbursts and naive travelers are straight too far from the road. So we went off the beaten path, and now there's frickin' vampires. Eliminate both the reckless and the shrewd vampires. Well, at least I only had 4. Do not let any more of your soldiers get seized. Use your leader's ability. So let's see how terrible this is. Oh no, they cleared by Wagenberg. So you have one. There's now before you. At least that boosted. Let's see, what did they do? Every 2 turns in turn start to seize the highest unit on the obstacle and move to your allied range. Right. There were already 4 units down. Move the leftmost allied unit to the bonus. I see. Every time turns in turn start to seize the lowest unit on the opposite route and move it to your ally. I don't know, this is gonna be complicated. Cause yeah, sure, it's gonna, every 2 turns it's gonna, you know. Basically, it's going to claim one of those. On this turn, he's going to claim one of these on this side. Basically, well, no, technically I could do this. I could fix. So for now, I have to play something. I'll just play one. So ticket's gonna play without. I have to do this 4 times. Okay, so this time it's gonna pick our highest unit, right? Which means we have to pick one of these and play 4. So now it claims that one. And now I have to basically play one of these. Of course I go, wait, get me it back. Alright, we have to play this. Okay, so now that's back on our side, and it's up to 4, we shoot them. Okay, that part about it wasn't terrible. That Hearthstone thing was, I'd say pretty RNG. Cause it's like, oh yeah, you could get 2 of those cards and just keep multi-firing on me. Because, you know, it's a random chance he was going to hit, but it kept hitting me constantly. It was stupid. Anyway, the Workers' Commission is showing that the NASA stands for Graphics Pascal layer is not in fact a fault. Fault itself was caused by methane. As a result, please heat the phone to random line until the center. We're going to come with 30 patients in line central through the flame. Apologize for fault for any inconvenience we caused. Oh yeah, she farted in mine. That's totally constant. Yeah. Oh great, more things to kill. You know, I like how the game's like, back there, they're like, oh well, technically you're done with this now, just go talk to Hugh and deal with shit. But then we have all this work of walking all the way up there and more things to deal with. Ooh, hey look, it's a thing. Dear son, if you open the thing, it will meet your father has passed, and now rest in peace beside you. Please do not grieve, for this is the way of life, always has been, always will. You're the Hills family now, and it won't be easy. I undertake, but fret not, I said so. I search for son for you this very day. Find where we used to watch the sunset. May your future be long and bright. So over there. Yeah. Of course we get nothing for. Can you get down there, please? For robbing the tomb.
Meave now witnessed a sorry sight. A mass funeral for miners killed due to a tragic convergence of events. Their lead caskets lay upon the snow, wreaths of hop cones laid upon them in turn. The mourners waited for the diggers to finish. The digging was tough, for the ground was frozen. As the crunch and thud of picks and shovels continued, the dead miner's foreman scrambled onto a boulder to make a speech. Angry shouts and loud booing stopped him.
But wait. Okay, so this doesn't make sense now, does it? So we have people digging graves. But yet behind him we have bodies resting on in tombs. Or I was gonna say, they're not pyres, what would be considered? I forget. That's a sarcophagus. This is because they're not inside them. So why are we digging when the...
You knew it! You knew they'd smell vapors, but you ordered them to keep digging till it blew up in their faces!
Make the daily quota whatever the cost, eh?
You've blood on your mitts, whoreson!
A mourner then picked up a chunk of frozen ground and threw it at the foreman. Blood spurted from the gash that appeared on his forehead. The first dirt chunk was followed by another, then by a rock, a brick. Meave realized that if she did not intervene, the foreman stood to be stoned to death.
Well, we should probably intervene.
Something had to be done quickly. Meave saw this clearly. She spurred her mount and rode into the cemetery, pushing through the throng, then stopping before the foreman, the horse shielding him from further blows.
Calm yourselves! Silence! His guilt cannot be decided here. It must!
Before Meave could finish her plea, a large rock thrown from the crowd struck her bosom, nearly knocking her from her saddle. Upon seeing this, her Lyrian escort lowered spears and drew swords and rushed at the angry mourners.
Well, shit.
Kino Kren!
Isbel cried out. Her hands began to radiate a fierce light that blinded both dwarves and Lyrians alike.
Have you lost your minds, all of you together? Not had your fill of misfortune yet? Lower your arms at once.
Whether the power of Isbel's magic or the force of her appeal had the greater effect is difficult to say for certain. Either way, both sides suddenly lost the desire to fight. Meve breathed a sigh of relief, aware that if not for Isbel's intervention, a great amount of blood would have been spilled at that cemetery.
Yeah, it's like, here we come. Yeah, thanks, fine, we'll try to save the dwarf. But no, you pissed off our soldiers are gonna murder everyone. Well, shit. But thankfully Isbel intervened, so we're not murdering everyone.
Knew there'd be a stink cause of this. Knew there'd be a stink cause of it. Knew there'd be a stink.
That's literally it. Those are sarcophagi, though. Sarcophagus. Got it. But yeah. So why were you guys digging that? I don't know. Exactly. Anyway. So basically nothing happened now. Let's continue. Nothing happened. Anyway, standard battle. Suddenly a piercing shriek came from above, without a chance to end. A large creature swooped down from the sky and plucked up an unfortunate infantryman. His blood was splattered across the sea. I forgot to check how many soldiers we actually have to see if we actually moved on because of that. But then again, we'll gain 2 from winning the battle anyway. That's not really matter. Remember that, it doesn't really matter. Nope, you lost 1 unit. Well, you gained 2. So, Stratus Bala could be useful, but at the same time we have enough to set the roll of fire. So let's see. Oh yeah, I don't need you. There we go, that'll do. I wish I had pikemen. Pikemen? No pikemen. Sad face. Great, the heartbeat for a start. That is one of those fork tails. It basically spawns a harpy egg. So let's see, an arch griffin. Move around and let you this road and boost all units on by 4. Oh, we're gonna use that once. Well, how do we want to do this?
Watch your heads!
Well, how about we do this? For starters. Boop. So
Catch!
I hate you.
I'll relieve you of that pouch.
Trying to maintain that. It's like, oh yeah, we'll just play these cards that require you to actually do things. But now they can't actually do things. Great.
Got a death wish?
So, damage a unit by 5. Star roll 5 with fire, damage all units on by 5. And behold how he does nothing. Also, I'm pretty sure you didn't damage that harbor by 5. And I'm calling bullshit. What do I want to do? Harpy.
God save the Queen!
Okay. So I could take out some of those. Good. Yeah.
Ah!
Oh Lord.
To the last!
Constantly reproduce. Hopefully the enemy passes. Great. Enemy pass. Which means I can pass. Yay. Found lower. Wow, that's gonna be fun. Now the enemy has a severe advantage over us. I don't really need both of them. Stupid harpies. Okay, let's get rid of some. There we go. That gets rid of the harpies, does some damage. And now we can start actually dealing with that thing. There's one of those fun. Because the game's a deck. Anyway, let's see what we get.
Tell me you jest.
My favourite cut of lamb? The shank.
That time is actually... I don't understand how that works. It confuses me. All I'm hoping is I get my cavalry unit back.
What do you want of me?
It's not my cavalry unit. Somebody's gonna nom something. Oh, that's not so okay. Anyway,
One boat's all I need.
and then that's cause I should take out the harpies. Or I should take out the harpies. I want to take out those, but we should take out the harpies.
Ah!
Yeah, those things are gonna be annoying, aren't they? Well, let's see what we can
I
get.
think you'll really like this one.
Play around a bronze zone for each day. Boost 2 out. Well, if you say so. So who do I want to basically make a meal? Boo. So let's see. Boo. Might as well be our higher students, right? So yeah, very meal, which means they cannot be targeted. If I do that, I'm gonna blow my trap. Well, I'm not. I don't think my trap will really hurt. is literally the worst, because I was going to use Northern Wind to deal with all those, but now they're all fully healed. And boosted. Oh, that's bad.
Give me a target. Our ballista, your command. Armor won't serve.
That's right, Robin, that's right. I mean, I could pass, but they'd still have those. Sucks that they're fully killed.
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
Oh, Lyrian
And
lummoxes.
that's how we win. Like, now we can get rid of those. Now I should pull. Oh well, get rid of those. Well, let me just hit it. It's still one. Oh well, still victory. Yeah, I think we might have to do a double fail, just because this one, but we did quite a bit in this one. 2 puzzles, that's our standard battle. Yeah. So I guess we'll get up to at least over here.
The Lyrians ascended the highest section of the Mahakam range. Snow crunched under their boots, cold air stung their lungs, and the wind snapped at their cloaks. Meve wiped sweat from her brow and turned to Reynard.
There! By the rocks! We shall...
The rest of her words were drowned out by a powerful blast. The entire mountain rumbled with a low, vibrating roar.
And then
The sound grew
murdered by an
louder,
avalanche.
echoing off the rocks, splitting their ears. The Lyrians looked around, disoriented. Few heard Gabor's warning.
Dinna just stand there! Get behind a rock! Quick! Hurry!
Meve followed the dwarf's gaze and cried out in terror. The snow stuck to the mountainside had started to slide down the slope, sending up mists of icy dust. Before she could react, the white torrent knocked her to her knees, crushing her and smothering her into the ground. All she felt after that was all-encompassing cold and fear.
And then we were dead.
Meve survived. The dwarves who ran to the Lyrians' rescue dug her out of the snow in time. Some of her soldiers were not so lucky. The Queen looked at their bodies, blue, frozen. Next to them lay dead horses, demolished wagons. The losses were enormous. Meve wiped her cheek. Her tears burned her frozen skin. Gabor spoke a while with the leader of the Mahakam Guard Patrol that had come to their rescue. His face was dour.
Thanks game for wiping out some of my units and other stuff. Oh, and making everyone pissed off yet again. Getting tired of that.
What? What have you learned?
I tell you all in good time. First, you need a warm drink, good victuals.
No, Gabor. I need to find out what in blazes happened here.
Well, 'twas an avalanche.
Well, yeah, we get that.
Of course it was an avalanche. I'm no fool. But what caused it? What was that noise?
Signal horns. Ours.
So you brought this snow down on us? Dwarves!
Well, aye, but, unawares.
Explain, in brief.
See, we clean our mount regularly. The way men folk shovel snow off their roofs. Otherwise, the whole shebang would come tumbling down on our heads. When snow's gathered deep enough, we blast our horns to cause a controlled avalanche. Then we need to, but sweep up a wee bit and the road's safe.
All well and good, but why did you decide to clean up right as I was passing through?
Wondering that myself. Schedule says next cleaning should have been a week frae now. But someone asked the route to be cleared earlier.
Who?
Maeve, I'll tell you. But first, promise you'll...
Who?
Hey. Owain ep Glenvog, the Nilfgaardian emissary. Think it were meant as revenge for attacking their caravan.
Take a moment to realize something. We could have let that caravan go. But no, we got rid of the caravan because we didn't need them supplying their troops with Mahakanim steel. But then we end up with consequences. Yep, and then they murdered most of my units, and almost murdered me. Thanks.
The bastard. Reynard! Reynard!
Wait! Wait! I understand you're a wee bit upset, you've every right. But you'll never prove Owain meant you harm. The sly weasel will make sure he didn't dirty his own paws.
I've no such scruples. I'll find him and kill him.
But that's gonna upset Prover who...
And then? How'd you tell that tale to Bruver? Maeve, you're justly taught, but for the love, just this once, let it go. Or you'll leave Mahakam with nae a scrap to show for it.
Moments later, scouts reported Owain was camped to the north of the accident site. Maeve had to decide how much she was willing to risk to get her revenge on the Imperial emissary.
Well, let's think about. Oh. Oh. Okay, I spent the majority of my resources, cause they're gone. They're just gone. Everyone's upset. Yep. Apparently I'm allergic to this bullshit.
By the Elder's sideburns, I'd no notion anyone was in the Vale. Nilfgaardian said the road was clear. A horse. What a mess. By the Elders.
We probably lost at least 20 units. Oh yeah, I got 39 word now.
Nice.
There, milady.
whispered one of the scouts.
Left of the path.
Meave squinted. The Nilfgaardians had taken shelter from the falling snow under a rocky outcropping. The smell of roasting meat wafted from their campfire, and echoes of laughter could be heard. The black-clad soldiers had reason to celebrate. They had just decimated Meave's company without even drawing their weapons. Meave's gaze caught something else. A metal container into which the Nilfgaardians tossed bones once they'd been gnawed clean. It looked strangely familiar. Only after a moment did the Queen understand it was an overturned Lyrian helmet dug out of the snowy grave of one of her men.
The Whoresons.
Meave hissed.
They'll pay for this.
Meave, asking you last time, keep a cool head,
whispered Gabor.
You want vengeance? I get it. But think of the cost. If so much as a hair gets plucked from Owain's head, Bruver will never forgive you, and you can kiss any hope of aid goodbye.
Silence followed, finally to be broken by one of the scouts.
Milady, what's the order? Do we attack?
See, here's the thing. Our troops are already pissed off at us.
No.
Said the Queen after long deliberation.
But milady, they...
I know what they did, and that I shall never forget nor forgive.
Said Meave, placing a hand on her scout's shoulder.
But breaking Dwarven law only plays into the Nilfgaardians' hand, causing us to lose allies and our chance for victory.
Meave brushed the snow from her trousers and straightened her spine.
Avenge our comrades we shall. Not here, but in the fields of Lyria and Rivia.
The Lyrians resumed their march with heavy, beleaguered steps. Their path still piled high with the snow brought down by the Nilfgaardians.
So long as we lose nothing, because our troops are already pissed off, so yay. Super.
While passing the mining settlement of Kolstock, Meave heard the sounds of battle.
Hey-ho! Into the fray, lads!
Expecting she would see monsters swarming dwarves, the Queen set off at a gallop to the rescue. Her braid blew about in the wind like a banner, showing her men in which direction to attack. The dwarves she saw, however, were not engaged in a battle against Shaelmars and Barbigazes. No, they were going at one another. Luckily, no weapons had yet been drawn, but given the dwarves have hands the size of bread loaves, this did not necessarily mean there would be no deaths.
Oi, lads!
Roared Gabor Zigrin.
What's this foolishness? Calm the hell down, damn it!
Gabor's intervention proved successful. The dwarves limited themselves to verbal jousting. Meave, who was no stranger to barrack room talk, nonetheless turned crimson at the dwarves' cursing. Piecing together the obscenities, Meave concluded they were debating an old quarrel about the height of a certain mountain, or rather of the twin peaks atop it. One of them lay in the territory of Clan Dahlberg, while the other in the Hoogsland. Each family felt their peak was the highest, all measurements indicating the contrary being total fabrications.
Queen?
Started Gabor, nervously chewing his moustache.
They're asking if you, as yin impartial and a fair-minded wench to boot, wouldn't you wish to settle their Egypt squabble once and for all?
So we're having a dick measure competition, basically. Oh yeah, my peak's higher than their peak.
Meave knew well that this type of age-old quarrel could easily end in bloodshed, so she resolved to help. Representatives of the two clans gave her a strange mechanism she was to use to measure elevation. All that was left was for the Queen to button her coat up to the neck and scale the twin peaks.
Oh yeah, sure, let's go up the mountain.
Time to end this delicate feud, once and for all.
I'll do it next time. I need it. I need a break. Hope you all enjoy. Thank you all. Have a nice day.